Ricky Stanicky, American comedy. It's out on Amazon at the moment. You can see it there, playing in theaters also. Directed by Peter Farrelly, who used to do a lot of stuff with his brother, the Farrelly brothers, Bobby and Peter Farrelly. You know, things like Something About Mary, Me, Myself and Irene, all of these kind of like classic, in a way, 90s comedies. I think Dumb and Dumber was one of theirs as well.
Yeah.
He's obviously worked on his own for the last few films. He's done this one. This film's been in development for years. Originally, the lead character was going to be played by James Franco over 10 years ago, apparently. But this is how it is with a lot of films. You know, by the time they've gone through all of their pre-production, you end up with a whole new cast of stars that are going to be in it, etc. So Zac Efron's back in this one. We've also got Andrew Santino, which a lot of people will probably know from his podcast he does with Bobby Lee.
Yeah.
And, of course, the great John Cena playing the title character, sort of. So this is a comedy about three young friends who, when they're little and they're getting up to naughty things like putting a flaming pie on people's doorstep, end up, nearly burning the house down and getting into trouble. So they blame it on like a friend that they made up called Ricky Stanicky. It was someone that they could sort of blame stuff on and get away with stuff. But they carry this in all the way into adulthood to the point where they're lying to their wives if they want to go off on a cheeky weekend to Vegas and have a laugh. It's all Ricky Stanicky's fault. He's the one who invited them out. He's been doing this, been doing that, to the point where, oh, Ricky's got cancer and we need to go and see him in hospital because, this might be... So they're, really bad lies because one of their wives, Andrew Santino's wife, is pregnant. So anyway, they go off and they're having a good time in Vegas. And then they meet John Cena, and his character is like a sort of really down on his luck actor that has actually become a sort of karaoke singer in a way, but he sings songs that would be famous songs, but they've been turned into kind of like changed the lyrics so that they're all about masturbation in one way or another.
Rock Hard Rod. So he kind of like clings onto him at the bar. They're not really interested in making friends with him, especially Andrew Santino. He just sort of like wants to fuck him off because he's trying to leech drinks off him and food and stuff like this. But obviously Zac Efron feels a bit down, feels a bit sorry for him, and he's like, sorry about my friends. And anyway, he gives him his card. Then they find out Santino's wife's gone into labour, so they'll all kick-bollock scramble to get back and go, oh! But that's where the film really starts. A lot of their family and everyone's saying, what about this Ricky Stanicky? Like, his mother-in-law is really suspicious. She's like, I don't even think he exists. So she's kind of onto them. So this gives them the idea to get back in touch with John Cena's Rock Hard Rod character and ask him to come over and pretend to be Ricky Stanicky for the day. Which he does, and to great effect, but almost too great effect because it then develops that he actually almost is, becomes Ricky Stanicky. And to say any more about it would be telling you about the whole film, so I won't. But tell us, David, your thoughts on this one. Yeah, I'd say because I guess they're forced to ring him up because all the family expecting to see him at the bris. He must turn up at the bris. We want to see this Ricky Stanicky fella you're always talking about. I mean, they almost give it up at that point in terms of, the one character almost dobs them all in, basically. This is all a lie. But, so they bring Mr. Cena out. I mean, this is a film that it starts a little slow for the first 10 minutes. It's kind of just simmering. But then I think it really builds momentum. If this is a comedy that builds up. And so... by the time you're getting halfway through the film, you're like, this, yeah, okay. You're laughing out loud at bits. By the end, there's some hysterical stuff. It's just ridiculous. So it really builds up the comedy value. In a way, I kind of wanted to see it because John Cena was in it, and I'd seen a couple of ridiculous clips from like the trailers and stuff that I was like, what's this all about? But I was half expecting this is going to be one of them shit comedies that comes out, especially Amazon. Amazon got a terrible track record over the last 3 or 4 years of pumping out these shit films
low budget quality, not funny, and so it was a real kind of pleasant surprise to put it on and go, actually, this is actually funny. This is and I think comedies have struggled in the last few years. I think, if you go back 20 years to that period of you're talking like what I call the white poster comedies. There's something about Mary and all those kind of things.
All of that, yeah.
There's American Pie, all those things from that era. Some have aged well, some haven't. But I just feel that there was a lot more funny stuff coming out, and it was different and dangerous and trying things, and you'd have a laugh regardless. And I think in the last 5 to 10 years or whatever, particularly the last 5 years, I mean, it's been awful when comedies have come out. They've just been dull, a couple of jokes, if that are funny, and then just not hitting any mark. So it's nice to see something like this come along, and you're like, yeah, this is funny. I mean, particularly, say the karaoke songs about masturbation. That was so funny.
Ooh, baby, I masturbate every day.
When he actually gets into the character and becomes Ricky Stanicky, I mean, half the stuff he gets up to is just hilarious. He really buys into it.
He's brilliant. I thought he was brilliant. I
really
mean, John
brilliant.
Cena, for me, look at him, what he's just done at the Oscars, that little part where he's got no clothes on. He is kind of a clown in a sense that he's, he did that stuff for DC a couple of years ago where he had a more substantial role. That was funny for what it was. But he's never really had, I think, a role like this, which puts him right in the centre of a film and forces him to do some acting. And as silly as this film is, I felt it really gave him that platform to show his chops. And, besides all the sort of wank joke humour and stuff that goes on in it, there was actually some quite good moments, like his relationship with Jermaine Fowler, who's one of the lads with Zac and Andrew Santino. He sort of gets stuck with him at first, doesn't he? And they're in the flat together, and talking about all this stuff, like Fowler's relationship, how that's going, and it gives this character a chance to show that he's actually is quite a good Mr. Fix-It. He's a positive thinker. He encourages him about his book. Anyway, this character is sort of like, even though they've let him in to just serve a purpose and pretend to be this guy, he actually starts making a difference in people's lives. Their boss, played by William H. Macy, at first they have this really, conversation where you're like, oh my God, I can't believe you said that to him and stuff. And it's like, there was more to it than I was expecting. I mean, what you just said about, this is going to be one of those films that's... And when you first told me about it, I thought, oh God, that sounds awful. And I think on the surface it does. I mean, even the title Ricky Stanicky, it's kind of like, wow, what's this? And like you said, very well put, those sort of white poster comedies from that era. It is very much like that. But I mean, one of the things I noticed about the poster for this was an R-rated comedy slapped all over it. And to be honest, I thought it was still quite tame compared to some of that stuff back then.
Yeah. But I think there's like a fear from the studios of going as far as they did in fear of the backlash, but then they feel like, we've gone a little bit far, we'll put R-rated on it because it'll sell it, and all that. But it's like, as you say, it's not. It's
quite tame.
No, there's nothing in this. Ain't American Pie.
If you go back to Peter Cook and Dudley Moore in the 70s and saw the stuff they were coming out with, come on, this is how many years later? 50 odd years later, and anyway. Good on them for doing it. It's nice to see a good comedy come back like this. I thought Jermaine Fowler was really brilliant in it, actually.
He was great.
Really good character. John Cena was excellent. Andrew Santino, I only really know him from that podcast with Bobby Lee, the Bad Friends podcast. He's a funny guy, but as an actor, I thought he was brilliant. He's a really good comedic actor, and he deserves to get loads of stuff. Yeah, and he's just, even if you watch him in scenes where other people have got the lines, his reaction and his face and how his emotions are portrayed just by being in the moment, I thought he was really talented, actually, and really good. So, props to him as well for it. But it was a surprise to me. That,
and Jeff Ross as the drunk rabbi.
All right, I consider this a mitzvah. All right? I don't want any money, but I'm keeping the tip.
But it's very much that Farrelly sort of humour, isn't it? You know,
it is. It is. What I think is very right about John Cena, because most wrestlers becoming actors. I mean, one of the only ones I've enjoyed a lot of is Batista. To be honest, I think he's done a very good job.
He has.
The Rock was.
He has.
The Rock was terrible. Hulk Hogan was always terrible coming into acting. And
well,
so
Hulk
far,
Hogan makes The Rock look like Marlon Brando, if you ask me.
Yeah. But, John Cena so far is disappointed because, the roles he's picked have not been great, or, his agents picked or whatever. So I don't think it's really worked. I know people liked him in that DC character. I forget his name. But,
I thought he was...
Peacemaker or something.
Yeah, Peacemaker. I thought he was good in that.
Now, I haven't watched it, so I can't judge for myself. But other people have enjoyed it, so I'm sure
I've only seen him in the Suicide Squad one. I know they did a spin-off series afterwards, which I didn't watch, but I thought he was good enough in that. But it's like Barbie, they'll just bring him up. Oh, it's John Cena. He's a thing in himself. It's like John Cena. And he pops up and he does a little bit, like at the Oscars, and you go, ha ha, it's John Cena. But in this, he showed his chops.
He showed something. But what it made me think was, everyone always bagged, in the wrestling world now, everyone always bagged on John Cena back in the day. Because he was a goofy, almost kid's clown, who was always doing these silly faces and stuff. And so when it came to him becoming an actor, it was kind of like, And I guess the things he's picked up so far are just really not suited for it. But then you watch him in something like this, and actually all that shtick, which didn't really translate years ago in wrestling, translates well in something like this. It's like, actually take on the roles like this and it'll work.
Well, like I said to you earlier, I've never been a fan of wrestling, so I didn't really know him from that side of it. I knew he came from that world, but I'd never watched him wrestle or any of the sort of stuff he was involved in there. I've only known him as John Cena, the kind of, like I say, popping up in TV shows or films or little bits on the internet, a lot of memes, John Cena memes and stuff that have come up. But I kind of like him. I thought this guy's quite funny. He's got more to him than just being a dumb musclehead. He's got some intelligence behind it. And this is the first time, even though, you look at him there on the poster and he's dressed as Britney Spears. And he's got no shame. This guy, he just come out naked at the Oscars doing that thing. Like, he just doesn't care. But there's more to him than that. I think, especially comedy chops for something like this. I thought he did really well, and I wasn't expecting to enjoy this film. To be honest, I put it on and I thought, if in 10 minutes I'm just like, oh, this is terrible, I'll turn it off, because that's what I do with films. That you just get that impression straight away. It's like, I'm not going to waste the next 90 minutes on this. Get it off, watch something else. But after 10 minutes of sort of going with it, I start to giggle. Then you get some laugh out loud moments, which I wasn't expecting. And, by the time, like I say, we get into it and they've got the party going and William H. Macy turns up and John Cena's there wowing everyone with his amazing acumen about this, that and the other that the character's supposed to have been doing. Because they write this Bible for him, don't they? Yeah. Over the years, these are the things we've said you've done. And as an actor, he takes that seriously and becomes, more than they expect. He becomes the character.
What did you say, Ricky?
Oh, nothing. I was just saying fuck you to that guy.
We can all strive to be Ricky Stanicky, I would say.
To the best friend we never had.
To Ricky Stanicky.
To Ricky Stanicky.
Best friend we never had.
But great. I'd like to see Andrew Santino get more work as well on the back of this, because he was really funny in it.
He was really great.
He's a bit of a bastard, but he is on the podcast. If you've ever seen him with Bobby Lee on the Bad Friends podcast, he's terrible. Some of the things he comes out with, you think, you son of a bitch. But his acting chops in comedy are really good, I think, and he deserves to do more stuff like this. And so does John Cena. So there we go. I've said it. I've said it. I'm a fan. See, John Cena's the man. But yeah, great stuff. Thumbs up. Do see it. Like I say, it's on Amazon Prime. So those of you subscribed, very easy to see at the moment. I've seen a few people online that have seen it, and other people asking, is it any good? I'd say, yeah, give it a go, especially if you loved all that Farrelly stuff from beforehand. Kingpin, that was another one of theirs. Remember that, with Bill Murray and Woody Harrelson? Classic film. Same sort of humour, you think, oh, geez, I remember in Something About Mary, he gets his balls trapped in his zip. So there's always some sort of genitalia thing. In this, it's a circumcision scene, isn't it? Yeah. There's always stuff like that you just gotta, expect from something like this. But there is more to it underneath. I think it tried to have a sort of moral centre to it, and to some degree, this one succeeded. If you don't take it too seriously, it was well done in that sense.
It was great fun, full of laughs, and that's all you want.
Absolutely. Thanks very much for watching this video. We really appreciate it. The best way to support our channel is by giving us a like and subscribing. Other ways to support us include buymeacoffee.com or become a patron over on patreon.com. This video is also sponsored by funkytshirts.co.uk, so check out their website for a whole range of cool and funky t-shirt designs. All the links are in the description.